Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really special. We're going to unlock the methodology that completely transformed global manufacturing. Now, if you've ever felt like your workspace, your processes, or maybe even your entire company is just stuck in a rut of inefficiency, you're absolutely in the right place. We're looking at the foundational principles of Kaizen. And look, this isn't just another empty corporate buzzword. It's a completely different way of looking at work, problem solving, and your entire organizational culture. We're going to break down exactly what it is, where it comes from, and how you can practically apply it to literally any industry today. So to really understand this, we have to look back at the dramatic history behind Toyota's massive rise, which was fueled by a highly unconventional approach to everyday business. Think about it. For decades, Western manufacturing giants like General Motors relied on massive capital investments in huge, sweeping innovations to stay ahead. But Toyota, they did something radically different. They realized you don't always need to throw a ton of money at a problem to solve it. Instead, they actually empowered their floor workers to find tiny, incremental ways to reduce waste and improve flow every single day. And it was this steady, relentless accumulation of small victories that eventually allowed Toyota to absolutely overtake the giants of the automotive industry. Okay, so what is it? Well, Kaizen isn't just some abstract management theory. It's a relentless daily practice where even a 50% solution today is considered way better than waiting for a perfect solution tomorrow. The word itself basically translates to change for the better. But honestly, the real secret sauce is in those last three words: everyone, every day. It means the CEO and the frontline assembly worker are both equally responsible for looking at their immediate surroundings and asking, hey, how can I do this just a little bit better today? It's a philosophy that completely throws out the idea of just maintaining a stagnant status quo. All right, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll hit foundation and history, then the continuous improvement philosophy, move into core tools and methodologies, tackle preparation and implementation, and finally wrap up with some real-world success stories. Let's jump right into part one, foundation and history. Tracing this evolution is actually fascinating because it shows how a localized Japanese shop floor practice rapidly became a universal standard for operational excellence. It all kicked off in the 1950s when Taiichi Ohno developed the Toyota production system, which really laid the groundwork. But it was Masaaki Imai who truly took this concept global. Back in the 1980s, he founded the Kaizen Institute and wrote the definitive book on the subject, essentially translating these factory floor strategies into a comprehensive management philosophy. It got so incredibly influential that by 1993, the Oxford English Dictionary officially added Kaizen as an English word. Moving on to part two, continuous improvement philosophy. Let's look at the mindset shift required to make this work. There is a really sharp contrast here between chasing expensive, high-risk innovations and relying on subtle, low-cost, human-driven daily improvements. Western management often worships the big breakthrough, right? The multi-million-dollar software upgrade, the massive corporate restructuring. It's flashy, sure, but it's really expensive and highly disruptive. Kaizen, on the other hand, relies heavily on human effort, morale, and self-discipline. It's undramatic, it's subtle, but over the long run, these continuous, low-cost, low-risk changes compound into just massive strategic advantages. And this perfectly highlights how every single level of an organization, from the new hires to top management, must split their focus between maintaining standard procedures and actively improving them. Maintenance just means ensuring everyone is following the current standard operating procedures, or SOPs. Because let's face it, if you don't have standardization, you just have chaos. But once a standard is maintained, management's second job immediately kicks in, and that's improvement. You have to constantly look for ways to elevate those current standards to a higher level. All right, let's unpack part three, core tools and methodologies. Here's your actual toolkit. The golden rule: never be satisfied with the status quo. As soon as this PDCA wheel completes a full term, the new baseline immediately becomes the target for the next improvement. This right here is the absolute engine of Kaizen. It ensures that continuous improvement isn't just some random brainstorming session, but a highly scientific, data-driven process. This builds a structured, repeatable engine for change that leaves absolutely nothing to guesswork. First up, you plan. You identify a very specific target for improvement and analyze the current state. Second, you do, meaning you implement a small-scale pilot solution. Notice I said pilot. You don't overhaul the whole factory, you just test it. Third, you check. You look at the hard data. Did the pilot actually make things better? And finally, you act. If it worked, you standardize this new procedure across the board. And then, you start the whole cycle all over again. By executing these 5 steps, you uncover hidden inefficiencies and create a highly visual, safe, and standardized workspace. You simply cannot improve a messy, disorganized process. 5S is all about visual management. You sort by trashing anything that isn't absolutely necessary. You set in order so everything has a specific logical place. You shine by keeping the workspace flawlessly clean, which, by the way, actually helps you spot equipment defects early. Then you standardize those rules, and most importantly, you build the discipline to sustain them. By repeatedly asking why up to 5 times, we bypass all the superficial symptoms and strike directly at the true root cause of any breakdown. This is another fundamental Kaizen tool. It's kind of like being a toddler again. If a machine stops, you don't just say, oh, replace the fuse. You ask, why did it stop? Well, a fuse blew. Why did it blow? The bearing was overloaded. Why was it overloaded? It wasn't lubricated. Why wasn't it lubricated? The oil pump failed. Why did the pump fail? Because its shaft was completely worn out. Boom. By finding that root cause, you fix the whole system, not just the symptom.
Let's move into part 4, preparation and implementation. Successful implementation definitely demands top-down leadership, but it completely relies on bottom-up execution and observation at the actual site of work. Notice that second point there. Go to the Gemba. Gemba is the Japanese term for the real place, the exact spot where the actual work is happening. You cannot do Kaizen from a corner office. It's impossible. Leaders have to go to the floor, observe the flow, and empower the workers with visual boards and clear standard responses. That way, workers can fix problems the second they happen, without waiting around for management intervention. Recognizing your champions with distinctions like Zenkai transforms continuous improvement from a mandated, boring chore into a celebrated corporate culture. Zenkai refers to an ancient master who was famous for not wasting even a single drop of water. By introducing a quarterly title like this for employees who make the greatest contributions to waste reduction, you brilliantly align human motivation with operational excellence. It proves to the team that management truly values the wisdom of its workforce. Finally, part 5, real-world success. Let's look at the hard proof. Just look at the power of these numbers. Alpargatas use these exact techniques to slash their total cycle time down from 568 seconds to a mere 216 seconds. That's incredible. And they didn't achieve this by buying faster multi-million-dollar machines. Nope. It was achieved by cross-functional teams using the PDCA cycle, analyzing the root causes of their delays, and implementing small, continuous improvements to their workflow. Over time, those tiny little tweaks compounded into a massive competitive leap in production speed. So the big takeaway is that whether you are a medical logistics hub or a high-tech engineering firm, these standardized micro-narratives of change reliably produce massive strategic advantages. Take a look at Medlog. Just by applying 5S and making a few layout changes, they cut their energy consumption by 25%. Densho Engineering uses quarterly team Kaizen to stay highly innovative and super close to their customers. Torque Leadervin uses daily visual boards to completely slash their setup times. The methodology scales and adapts to whatever your specific operational bottleneck happens to be. Keep these core rules in mind before starting your own Kaizen event. This will keep your team entirely focused on wisdom and creativity rather than capital and excuses. This really sums up the entire mindset. Don't seek perfection, just get a 50% improvement implemented today. Prioritize creativity over capital. Essentially, use your brain before you use your budget. And most importantly, remember that you are never actually done. The opportunities to improve are genuinely infinite. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself, what is the single smallest step you can take in your workspace today to start creating your own perfect flow? Kaizen teaches us that we do not need to wait for a massive technological breakthrough or a huge budget approval to make things better. You have the tools, you have the philosophy, and you have the capability right now. So, go to your Gemba, find a process that annoys you, ask why 5 times, and start making your own change for the better. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.